not hate to say that we were kidnapped and brought here. It's true. It's not hate to say that we were Jim Crow, discriminated and segregated. It's true.
Our problem has been, as black people, we've always been concerned about white America, never about...
I can't be a pessimist because I'm alive. To be a pessimist means that you have agreed that human life is an academic matter.
We might not be back. I might be in jail. I might be anywhere. But when I leave, you can remember I said with the last words on my lips that I am a revolutionary. And you're going to have to keep on saying that.
Good evening. It's your man, Brian H. Rap B. Williams on Internet Bitch Media. This is a program called Build and Destroy, where I attempt to build up the community and do everything I can to build up the community and destroy the lies and propaganda that are surrounding my community. Thank you for tapping in. It is imperative that you hit that like, hit that share, subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you for tapping in. And as I do every weekend, what I'm going to do is acknowledge my parents and my entire lineage. That is salute to Dolores and John. Without them, there is no me. Without me, there is no intervention, so forth and so on. This evening is an interesting program. If you see the thumbnail, it shows unity. And the reason I did that is because as a community, we are going to have to work together. If we don't work together, there is no hope for us. A lot of people say we need to do this, we need to do that. First and foremost, we must unite. We must remove the things that we don't have in common and basically galvanize around the things that we do, filtering out the hate, the anger, the anguish, the suffering, the pain, and things of that nature. We can no longer live by that motto because it's not doing us any good. Everybody has their own agenda. Your family, my family, your friends, my friends, neighbors, and so forth and so on. Everybody who's they are looking out for their best interests. And there's nothing wrong with that. Let me back up a little. There's nothing wrong with that. You must look out for your best interests. But in order to look out for your true best interests, you must come together and put yourself in a situation to where as you come together, the people around you, they're benefiting as well as you, because there is a collective situation and you can't do it on an island. No one can survive in the midst of a country on an island. No matter how much money you have, you won't be able to do it alone. We are in I use this term a lot, an inflection point. And the inflection point is basically a fork in the road. We are in an election season, and for all intents and purposes, we are consistently in an election season in the United States of America. The top job is the president every 4 years. The next group is the Senate every 6 years. The House of Representatives is every 2 years. So no matter where you live or where you are in election season, no matter what position you're in. Then that's not even counting the mayors, governors, park district presidents, school board presidents, school councils, city councils, what have you. So we'll always have to pay attention. And because we're behind the 8 ball, and if you pay any attention to the things that I do, you see that we're under attack at all times. You have people who are part of our neighboring communities, whether it be the Asian, Hispanic, and other communities throughout the United States of America. They are trained and taught and put in a position to believe that we're the problem and we are our worst enemies. You even have people from our communities parroting that foolishness. We're our own worst enemy. We do the worst to ourselves. And if you're stupid enough, and I used to just, uninformed, but that's just stupid to believe that because you saw it on television, because you don't apply all the things that you see on TV to your personal life. Because I don't see a bunch of women. I don't know a bunch of women throwing drinks on other women's face, but I saw that on TV. Well, I don't see a bunch of people killing each other because I see that on TV. Yeah, you know what? There are random acts of violence throughout the world, and there always will be, and there always has been. Just because it's being reported does not mean it's getting worse. It's just now we're telling you a little more, because if it bleeds, it leads. I used to work in media, and that was a slogan in media. If it bleeds, it leads, meaning if someone is hurting, and if there's bodily damage, property damage, or anything of that nature, we're going to put that on first. And if your program is to divide arguably the most powerful nation in this country, I don't care about wealth. I don't care about ownership and things of that nature. Numbers, there are power in numbers. I will show you a portion of one of my favorite Malcolm X speeches in just a second. It is called The Ballot or the Bullet. It is him. And keep in mind, Malcolm X has been in the ancestral realm for 61 years. 61 years. As a matter of fact, for 60 years. 60 years. In February, it'd be 61 years. For 60 years, he's no longer been with us. So it's amazing how these things still apply. And I'm going to show you the video, then I'm going to come back and continue what I'm saying. But we, as the Black community, whether you want to admit it or not, or whether you're even aware of it or not, we are the most powerful nation in the United States of America. And if you doubt that, all you have to do is ask yourself a few questions. Why is the Black vote so important? Why is the Black vote so important? The second thing you need to ask yourself, if we were as weak as people portray us, why is it that you use all your media, all your social media, and all the force behind you to eradicate us? You put crack cocaine in our communities. You put guns in our community. You won't hire us. You set up laws to discriminate against us. You created additional laws to put us in a bad situation. You even wrote in your country's constitution, that we're less than human. If we are not as powerful as I know we are, why is it that you go to such lengths to disable us? Why do you promote us and demote other people and make us and constantly create infighting amongst us? Because if we are not as powerful as HRAP thinks they are, then what I want you to know is why are you focusing so hard to destroy and or fight me? What I'm gonna do right now, as I stated, I'm gonna show you this video, then I'm gonna continue on this path and we'll continue with the show. Thank you for tuning in. Hit that like, hit that share. This is HRAP. I'll be back shortly.
African Americans, or so-called Negro. One of the reasons that it is bad for us to continue to just refer to ourselves as so-called Negro, that's negative. When we say so-called Negro, that's pointing out what we aren't, but it isn't telling us what we are. We are African, and we happen to be in America. We're not American. We are people who formerly were Africans who were kidnapped and brought to America. Our forefathers weren't the Pilgrims. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. The rock was landed on us. We were brought here against our will. We were not brought here to be made citizens. We were not brought here to enjoy the constitutional gifts that they speak so beautifully about today. And because we weren't brought here to be made citizens today, now that we've become awakened to some degree and we begin to ask for those things which they say are supposedly for Americans, they look upon us with hostility and unfriendliness. So our unwanted presence, the fact that we are unwanted, is becoming magnified in all of America's preachments today. In the United Nations, you have poor nations and rich nations. They say that the most powerful bloc in the UN are the African Asian bloc. These are the poor nations, yet they carry more weight in this political body than the nations do who have all the money. Why? Because no matter how wealthy America is, she only has one vote. No matter how wealthy Russia is, she only has one vote. Whereas all the poor nations in Africa who have just emerged into independence, they have each a vote too. And they stick together and are able to outmaneuver the rich nations. This is by having independence and the right to vote in the political world body, it has enabled the dark nations to band together and use the strength of their ballot to force the wealthy nations, which are the white nations, into giving more independence to other nations who are still under their jurisdiction. You and I have to look at this and understand this, that the ballot is as powerful as the bullet. Now, if you and I leave it up to the
You see how those words ring true even to today? A lot of people, you got people saying my vote does not count. Foolishness. No one is trying to take invaluable things from you. You will never catch a pickpocket, a person who's a pickpocketer, going into a homeless person's pockets. You'll never see that because it is a very good chance that homeless person has absolutely nothing. If you were sleeping on the street, nobody's running through your pocket. Run his pocket, see what we can get, because there's nothing to get there because they're destitute. They're destitute. So why is it that they work so hard to do away with us? See, they take our spirituality and use it against us because they know we're connected. We don't know we're connected, but they do. And then what we do is we get to arguing about this higher power, which is foolish in itself, because even Jesus said in the Bible, when he sent the disciples out to see what was going on, they came back and they said, "Hey, Jesus, there was people out there not representing where we were supposed to represent." Of course, he didn't say that because I know somebody in the background. Well, he said it like that, but let's not be ridiculous now. And he said, and then what did the Lord say? The Lord said, hey, no, leave those people alone. I have sheep of many flocks. So this is why you need to read and study so you can deem yourself worthy of the praises of the Most High God, whatever you want to call him. That's why I call him Most High God. It covers everybody, Jehovah, Jesus, whoever you want to call him, the Messiah, whatever you want to call the Creator. I'm just saying, work with me. So this is why we have to study to deem ourselves worthy of those blessings that we all pray and cry, hope and plead and beg and cry and scratch and fight for, right? So if we start studying, then we'll understand we might just be of a different flock that falls under the same umbrella. But it goes back to the point that our ancestor, Brother Malcolm X, was just saying. If we come together, we become a fist. And if we are a fist, we're the most powerful fist on earth. If you doubt that, what I'm going to do is walk you through something very simply, and then I'm going to move on with the show. There are 112 million people in the country of Russia. There are 60 million people in the country of Germany. There are like 35 million people in England, and so forth and so on. At our very worst, if we only go by the census, it's 45 million of us. Our GDP, the money that we take in, is the 5th largest economy on earth, not in America, on earth. So if I'm making the 5th amount of money, my money is ranking 5th on earth. And I got just about as many people as I have in any place in the world, all the major countries. It's more black people than it's people. Not just, and it's black people in England. It's more black people in the United States of America than there are in England. Spain, we probably look in the eye with Germany, Portugal, France, so forth and so on. We can look any community on earth in the eye in regards to just pure numbers. So you know what? Then let's look at America. A lot of people say it wrong. I'm an American. You're a citizen of the United States. You are a citizen of the United States. So when you say I'm American, you're not really saying anything. That's just like saying I'm an Illinoisan. Where you from? Illinois. But where? Oh, I'm from Chicago, Illinois. I'm from Cook County and then Chicago, Illinois. That's how you determine. I'm an American. No, I'm a citizen of the United States. And then where are you from? Illinois, then Cook County, then Chicago. So that's how other cultures identify themselves here in the United States. I'm an Italian American. I'm a Greek American. I'm German Irish, so forth and so on. That's how they identify themselves. I'm Greek. That's why you have Little Italy here in Chicago. That's why you have Chinatown in Chicago. You have Little Korea in Chicago, and so forth and so on. The Ukraine Village, the Puerto Rican section of Chicago, the Mexican section, and we have black neighborhoods: K-Town, Austin, so forth. Can't think of Kenwood, Hyde Park, so forth and so on. Inglewood, that's what I couldn't think of. And I don't want to exclude anybody because we get all sensitive in Chicago about directions and communities that you live in. So what I want you to understand is this. If the people in K-Town unite with the people in Inglewood, and unite with the people on 9, and unite with the people in the hundreds, and so forth and so on, we can move as one voting block here in Chicago, and we can force people to do what we want them to do. And that's why they have all this division. This is one of the most peculiar election cycles I've ever been witness to. I've been watching election cycles since 1987 because I knew in 1988 when at the end at who's going to put the B in the R&B of the United States federal government. And if you don't know what R&B is, that's the Reagan and Bush era. That's a 12-year period in which we suffered probably more than we had in a whole bunch of years. I haven't done the math, and I'm gonna do it as I think about it. We hadn't suffered that much in a very long time. We were introduced to white kryptonite, aka crack cocaine. We had people went from shooting at you with what they used to call a Saturday night special, a 38, and now they got semi-automatic weapons and 9mm and Uzis and AK-47, Russian AK-47s. The average black person in America has not gone to Russian, so how do you get a Russian AK-47? But these are the things that were pushed upon us, and then laws start to change, and we even help rewrite those laws, and then we blame other people because we're not talking to each other. The reason I'm talking about this is, again, this election cycle is a strange bird. We have a sister, whether she, it's amazing how y'all got angry with Tiger Woods for saying he was Californian. He didn't want to claim us because his mother was Asian, his dad was black as the ace of spades. And he was saying he was multiracial. He had white, he had Asian, he had Caucasian, and he had African. So he created a word. Even his dad looked at him on the Oprah Winfrey show like, what the hell are you talking about? So as he did those things, the black community, I remember this. I was coming of age. I'm about 26 years old. Everybody got angry with me. Man, you black. Here we are, almost a little less than 30 years later. And y'all mad that this woman has a black dad from Jamaica who's biracial and a mom who's Indian. And y'all gonna say, oh man, she ain't really black. How asinine have we become? But even still, we have another guy who is a cantankerous individual. I'm not gonna say, this is what I'm not gonna do. I'm not gonna ask you to vote for anybody to give you the direction to vote for. Because everybody, you know what, the average listener on this program is between 44 and 60. Now, a lot of people coming in from that 35 and younger, though, that 34 and younger. A lot of those people coming in. Salute to you people. Thank you. I really appreciate you. And the people who come, I really greatly appreciate you. The people in the chat room, thank y'all, man. That's really appreciated. But I'm not going to tell you who to vote for. I'm not going to tell you what alliances to go with, because in my opinion, that's the way we go wrong. This is what you should do. I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is present some situations, because I don't have a party affiliation. I don't trust any of them. I'm not going to give you the routine about, oh man, choose the devil you can trust, or choose the devil you used to, choose the lesser of two evils. You're still picking evil, so you're really not winning if you pick an evil. But I am going to say choose your fight properly. And would you rather fight a fox, or would you rather fight a wolf? So if you fight a fox, you stand a very good chance you can overpower a fox. If you ever seen a fox, you'd be underwhelmed when you see the fox. You fight a fox before you fight a traditional house dog. You would probably battle that fox. But wolf, if you ever came face to face with a wolf, it'll scare you beyond belief. And I know that. I've seen one. That's a big animal. And wolves, they run in packs. They're calculating, and their whole goal is to eat. So in this instance, what I'm going to do is we're going to outline the red party and the blue party. The red party and the blue party. I'm going to give you some facts about both. I'm going to give you some facts about the party that everybody seems to, for whatever reason, draw an alliance to. I'm going to go out on a limb, and I'm not, and it's not a disparaging limb. I'm going out on a limb and say most people that watch my program are working class individuals. No matter what walk of life you're from, you get up and go to work every day, or you figuring out something, you're doing something to earn money so you can take care of yourself. That's what most of the people, that's what my demographics say. Salute to the people in Africa, Nigeria, South Africa, and Botswana who just started tuning in. I mean, I really appreciate being overseas, man. It really warms my heart that the sisters and brothers overseas are paying attention to intervention. Thank you. That is greatly appreciated. Please continue to subscribe. It is greatly appreciated. I'm paying attention and I appreciate it. But back to what I was saying, I'm going to give you some information and you tell me what's advantageous to you. Most of us get up and go to work every day. That means most of us are fighting for a living wage. You know, a lot of us are living right at that poverty line, meaning you miss a paycheck, it's gonna be chaotic. It's gonna be chaotic. A lot of us don't like our places of employment, and a lot of us are, like the Good Time song, scuffling and surviving, hanging in the child line. That's what the song said. I had to do that. I'm sorry, yeah, I'm sorry. Let me get back to being serious. But but seriously, a lot of us are struggling, and I don't understand how people who get up and work every day use this lazy mentality of they haven't done anything for us. You must ask the follow-up question. See, me and my main man, Malik, I don't know if he wants his name to be said, Malcolm Seymour. I didn't say it. Oh well. We always ask this question when we're in the midst of conversation. The why behind the why. Why is it that a group of people who otherwise are self-centered and attempting to participate in capitalism, which is stoked in greed and debauchery, why all of a sudden would they care about you? Now, one of the major cantankerous points in America today is this. We have a bunch of people in America who have migrated from other countries and they're taking things from you. They're taking monies from you. They're taking benefits from you. They're taking housing from you because they're doing everything they can. I even had a jackass on Twitter, hope you watching, tell me that the migrants were taking things from me. And I'm like, did you not read the Pan-Africanist bio? I don't have time to discriminate against people, whether they look like me or not. I don't have time for hatred. I don't have time for division. Because at one point, see, here's the beautiful thing about capitalism. Capitalism exists on chaos. They tell you capitalism is about opportunity. You see, everybody get a chance. Well, it's a caste system. It's a system that locks you into a position, and then every once in a while, as I referenced last week, the rolls comes through the concrete, and then they go, see, the rolls made it through the concrete. And we go, yeah, look, if open. And I've actually had people say, Oprah, Obama, Joy, look, they made it. Why you can't? Because I'm not a journalist. I didn't go to law school, and I'm not 6 feet 6 inches tall with a 45-inch vertical. Just not my. It's not my get down. But I do have opportunities. But what I want you to understand is this: when you discriminate against migrants, and all you have to do is do a checklist. How many city council meetings have I gone through? How many times have I talked to my elected officials? How many times have I reached out to my elected officials? How many times have I sat in a group of friends and family members and talked about what's wrong with our community? How many times have we put that on paper and report and given it to someone? Now, then you ask yourself this question. If migrants are the most hated group right now, because they are, hey man, the migrants, who were the last groups? You know what the last groups were? The Latinos. The damn Latinos. You know who the group was before that? Remember, now we're going back over the Obama, right when Trump got in office, it was the Latinos that everybody was hating. And then when Obama came in, we were fresh off the Bush era, and guess who we were hating? We were hating the Arabs, because those Arabs and those Muslims, they blew up those buildings in New York. And guess what? And that's the year 2000. That puts us at September 11, 2001. Who were they hating before then? Your black ass. So why would you get in line to hate somebody else? Or what you are officially the biggest punk in the schoolyard, because I'm going to roll with the bully so the bully don't beat me up. But what happens when those kids matriculate to another school because their parents say, I don't want my child under this tyranny? Or those kids gang up and it's more them than it is the bully, like it is us. And the bully say, well, we're going to leave y'all alone. And then he back to messing with you. So if you're foolish enough to believe that your biggest threat is the migrant, how can someone who is, for all intents and purposes, on paper behind you be a threat to you? Unless you don't want to give that person an opportunity. Don't put on a statue in the opening of the country, give us your poor, your huddled masses, and we gonna welcome you in, because you ever heard of anybody from the Ukraine in the midst of that war? Remember, at the beginning of that war, at the beginning of the Biden administration, a lot of those people were getting on planes coming over here. We didn't hear about migrants then. You know why? Because those people look like people who are in power. They were getting the same hotels. They were getting the same SNAP benefits. They were getting the same monies. But you never heard about that on television until the people who look like me, a little darker and a little lighter and a lot lighter, until they start coming from the southern border. These are the problems that we're facing with. So this is why I got a series of questions to ask my supporters. I'm not going to call you followers because I think that's mad disrespectful. I'm not going to say that. But to the people who support me weekly, thank you. And here goes some of the questions I have for you. The first question is this. Elon Musk, the owner of the application called Twitter, it is currently being nicknamed X. I told you I'm not ever calling it X. It's under no circumstances. He owns Twitter, and he basically broke a federal law. Him and a couple other people that support former President Donald Trump. He said he's giving out $1 million to register to vote. So he's just going to give away money to register, and then that locks you into an obligation, which is against the federal law. It's a violation of federal law, and he should be arrested and incarcerated for putting it out there, because he's actually said it. That whether, hey, you don't have to sell drugs. All you have to do is attempt to get them from the undercover cop, and you go to jail. You ain't got to give them the money. All you have to do is show up at the meeting. You go to jail. He publicly stated this, so my man Musk needs to be incarcerated. But it's amazing how Elon Musk, Peter Thiel, Steve Bannon. Elon Musk I think Musk and Thiel are not even from America. Steve Bannon is a racist who used to be in the Navy. I think he got out around 87. And he's been dilly-dallying around, but they are staunch white nationalists. They will never be supremacists in my mind, because nobody's superior to me. You can think whatever you want to think. I can think I'm 7 feet tall and 225 pounds with a 40-inch vertical, but we all know I'm 5'10". Yes, 5'10". So with that being said, why is it that a guy who is not from here, pissed off about the migrants, reminding you about migrants, and his ass migrated here himself? And if he's a billionaire, isn't he taking money out your pocket? Shouldn't the entire black community migrate to fan base that is owned by a black man who was born here in Tennessee? I think he's born in Memphis, Tennessee. Isaac Hayes III. He still lives in Tennessee. He has his own platform. It's one of the largest growing black-owned platforms in the United States of America. Why are we not doing that? Because, see, if we're going to separate, let's separate. Because we keep our community keeps all those ads going on Twitter. If we all migrate the fan base, we put that money in Isaac, and Isaac has done things already to support the black community, so why wouldn't he continue? You have to ask yourself, you got people online and they're debating, well, Trump isn't racist. They're just propagandized media. Not a problem. If you believe that, that's okay. If you believe that, that is perfectly okay for you to believe that that's propagandized media. That's just media. Those are tricks. The man is trying to trick you. But I even had a close personal friend disappoint me beyond belief when he was unwilling to just admit that does not sound cool, and maybe I should rethink this. He gave me some cockamamie BS about you never know, it's a possibility. It's a possibility that I could spontaneously combust and catch fire right here online on air. That's a possibility. That could happen. It ain't likely. It's a possibility that I could start running and turn into a pillar of salt, just like in the good book. That's possible. It ain't likely. We're not going to do that, but it's possible. So when you have people saying these things, all I'm going to do is present information this evening. And then I'm going to ask you this question. Why are two white nationalists, if he's not a racist, why are two white nationalists and a foreigner who was born in apartheid South Africa drawing allegiance to him, and they're breaking the law and literally saying, if I do this, I'm gonna go to jail? One of them just got out of jail or be getting out of jail within the next 5 to 7 days. help me understand that. But it's possible, right? That's what was told to me. Anything is possible. And after hearing that foolishness, he's right. Anything is possible. The next thing I want to ask, do you think you're getting paid fairly? Because you got one group of people who don't, the thing is, with the one party, none of them mean any good to me. But one of the parties, they're trying to pacify you and allow you to hand them over things because they know you won't complain. They know you're not going to go into action. The other party, on the other hand, they're doing everything they can to oppress you, hold you back, and put you in a situation where you are under them and you will stay under them, making statements like, we're going to close the Department of Education, and if anybody teaches any accurate history, we will not fund them. One of the statements was literally, what are you going to do about these people with this new history saying America is built on stolen land and it was built on the backs of slaves, enslaved people? Everybody with a freaking brain in their head understand that the people who we call Indians or First Nation people or indigenous to North America, whichever identifying factor you want to include on them, they did not hand over this land. They were slaughtered, destroyed, and almost eradicated. People from my community, whether they were already here from King Mansa Musa and his exploits, or migrated up here from Central and South America or Mexico and migrated here from the other basically voluntary transatlantic explorations and just stayed here because they liked it. Those people were captured, put into indentured servitude, and treated as cattle. And the entire economy of the nation was fueled by that. And that's what caused that thing called the Civil War. So if you want to deny that, that's cool. But again, why would you want to draw allegiance with a group of people who don't even want to admit the truth? Now, you got that out the way. So this leads me to asking the question, are you being paid fairly? Are your employers paying you what they want to pay you? Do you have a supervisor that may be screaming on you, barking on you, mistreating you, and attempting to undermine your peace at work? Here in Illinois, that's called a hostile work environment. And if you are in Illinois and you are experiencing that, go to 500 West Madison Avenue on the 8th floor. It is a department called the EEOC. And if that's happening to you and you're not part of what I'm about to talk to, they will take on the things and you will no longer be harassed. But it's this one entity called unions. One party is anti-union. Other party claims to be pro-union, but that's neither here nor there. But they're not anti. They're not doing everything they can to bust up unions. You had the United Auto Workers. The auto industry took our tax money from then President Obama and rebuilt the United States automotive industry. Everybody before took that money, Chrysler and GM. They took that money and rebuilt themselves, making I think a 60% profit over the last 30 years, if I'm not mistaken. And all of a sudden, they want to tear those unions down because they don't want you to stand up and say, hey, y'all making money hand over fist. You got CEOs making $45, $50, $60 million a year. And I've been making the same money for the last 10 years. And the one party in the blue, the Republicans, they are saying, in the red, the Republican, whatever, the Republican Party is saying, hey, we want to bust up unions, that y'all don't need to do all that. We're going to give you a fair wage, but no, you don't, because as I go on through my list, you'll see where they have no intentions on treating you like a human being at all. So which one is advantageous to you? The one who is allegedly aligning themselves with the union, or the people who are trying to bust up their unions? Elon Musk trying to bust up unions because he's getting sued left and right for discrimination at his plants in California. And he just opened up a plant in Texas. They're going to be suing them down there soon and things of that nature. So you got people who are anti-union and union. So if you get up and go to work every day, I'm quite sure you're pro-union. So do you want to align yourself with those guys or the people who are not trying to bust up a union, They're trying to align themselves with them, or people trying to bust up unions. These are questions you must ask yourself. See, a lot of people are single issue voters. What you're not realizing is this: that issue can be encompassed into a myriad of issues in the event that you get active and stop sitting back waiting on people to sell you a dream. Anytime you're talking to a politician and he does not look like you, he does not come from what you come from, and he's never experienced what you experienced, but he knows all the proper talking points, it will make me wonder. You know, women call it women's intuition, and men call it identifying BS. This is, in my opinion, Robert F. Kennedy. They ask him a question, he goes, if it's black people asking the question, he goes straight to black issues, never answering the question. Anytime you just jump over the issue and go right into an explanation, I have a problem with you. Answer the question, and then we can talk about whatever you're going to talk about. But that's what we're dealing with. That's what you're dealing with. So you answer, let's get started from the top. We have white nationalists and foreigners align with one of the groups. That's not advantageous to the working class. You have people who are anti-union who are aligning themselves with this same group. That's anti-working class. So you got two groups, and we only have I got 11 topics, and we're already down 0-0. Now, the third one is this. One of the groups has passed laws in Florida and Louisiana, and when I get to Louisiana, it's going to blow your mind about anti-protests, but we're going to stick with Florida for now. Do you understand that there were laws passed in Florida stating that if you, let's just say, God forbid, another young black individual or anybody gets accosted by the police and assassinated by the police, because that's what those are, assassinations. They go into these places with the intent to murder these people, if you ask me, my personal opinion. And if you and other people who look like you or other people in the community come together, they have passed laws. If you're scared of protesters, you can run them over. So if you're a white nationalist, you see a group of people who don't look like you protesting police violence or whatever they're protesting, freedom of assembly in the Constitution, they have the legal right to run you over. Kind of like they did to Heather Hyde and Caroline at that time at the beginning of the administration, Trump administration. Remember that? They just made it legal to do that. So how do we determine if you're scared or not? So a lot of people potentially get hurt, and then bam. So we're down 3 topics. And by the way, the dude who's the leader of this this pact, this political union, he says he even wants to have the United States military come in and hurt people. And that's a whole other trick bag. Like, the police cannot arrest a Navy officer, a member of the Navy, a member of the Army, a member of the Marines, or the member of the Air Force. They don't have the authority to. So, and by the way, that same president says he wants to do away with all of this, and he has qualified immunity. Basically, he has the immunity to send things in as the president. He can send the military to someplace. They can do the totally wrong thing, violating everybody's civil rights. And after he leave office, if he chooses to leave office, because he's made it clear that he's not wanting to do that. What is he going to do? He's going to walk away with zero accountability for his actions, because he's going to say he was doing the job of the president. This is what you're up against. Another thing, freedom of movement is also part of the United States Constitution, and he and other people want to reenact what is called stop and frisk. Stop and frisk. What is stop and frisk? That means if was one of these race baiters, one of these race soldiers, one of these wicked people wicked individuals who are armed and have the backing of the legal system with them, feels like it, they can jump out of their car, press you up against the wall, harass you, and go on about their day, and they can do it as many times as they like. When it was in New York, they was doing it on a regular basis to the tune of 80% of the people that were being stopped and frisked were either black or Latino. And 80% of the black in the population is not 80% black and Latino. So that means you were stopping every black person that you could. And how's about this? 95% of those people did not break any laws. Well, so now We're already down to number 4, and we're 0-4, one party going, bang, we're going to do this. The other party is saying, hey, well, we don't have any intention on doing that. So do you understand the situation that we're in? We could be a single issue voter where they're gonna be talking about gay stuff in the school. They don't want, I want you people to pray in school. Well, why don't you pray before you leave the house? Why don't you wake your children up in the morning and pray then? If prayer is that important to you, how about you pray on the way to school, before you walk your child to the school bus, or if you're taking your child to the school, excuse me, I repeated myself. Or if when you wake up in the morning, before they wash their face and do all that, just break down, let's get ahead and pray for a safe trip home, pray for the energy to get you through your school day, pray for the information that they're disseminating to your children to be pure, clear, and concise, and then you move on and you pray again when you get home and they get home. How about that, Mr. and Mrs. I love the Lord? But we're not doing that. We want to impose our views upon you. And again, we down 4-0. And this leads me to the most important thing, one of the most important things on the list, police brutality. They want to eradicate this. They want to get the police full and total immunity to any prosecution. I have seen a white guy get pulled over by a cop and a white Camaro and get shot to death. It was actually worse than what I seen with some of the brothers, because the cop was just standing there. The white boy is sitting in the car. They said he was 19 years old. And the cop just dumped on him like a gangbanger, man. And that cop is still saying he's at work to this day. And this is what we're up against. But of course, we need the police. They don't want to defund the police. Explain to me why you need military style equipment to police a city. What institutes crime? By and large. I understand. I have friends, I have family members that just woke up one day and said, I'm going down the road. I'm going down the wrong path. No matter what that path is going to lead me to, I'm going down to the wrong path. They're not my friends. They're just people I know. Excuse me. With that being said, how about this? One of the things that spur on crime is lack thereof. People say money is the root of all evil. No, lack thereof money might be the root of all evil. One of the roots of all evil. Jealousy might be one of the roots of all evil. There's several roots of evil, but money is not the problem, because Cain killed Abel. There wasn't a dime on the table. But what I want you to understand is this. I think somebody said something. And oh, thank you, my man T. Man, thank you for the support, brothers. Thank you everybody in the chat room. Thank y'all for participating. But again, you got the police beating up on people, shooting people, stabbing people. And you got another party that's saying, hey, what we need to do is put some type of universal system in. So if you get fired in Cook County, you can't go over to Will County. You can't go over to any county in Illinois. You can't go to Wisconsin. You can't go to Indiana. You can't go to Arkansas. You can't go to Memphis or Tennessee and get hired. That's exactly what we need to start doing. But one party, we already up to 5, y'all. We're up to 5, and guess what? They're 0 for 5. And these are things that are important and beneficial to your wealth, mental health, and survival. And this other group, they're not. Again, I'm not trying to tell you what to support. I'm just saying these are the things that are important to most people who support my show. Abolitionists. Abolitionists. What is an abolitionist? That's a person who's trying to do away with something. Don't think just because the Democratic Party, I'm saying one party, they're with this and they're with that. The Democratic Party are equivalent to abolitionists. The abolitionists helped our ancestors get free. But it wasn't because they were in love with black people and they saw the wrongdoings of black people. Don't be a damn fool and think that. Because if it was that, then black people, Latino people, Asian people, and other people from other countries who were being mistreated, Haitians, Caribbean people, South American people, Central American people, we wouldn't be getting mistreated to this day if all the abolitionists were here to help. And I'm gonna make abolitionists a synonym for the Democratic Party. So whereas it's advantageous to roll with them at this point, it is not advantageous to roll with them after November 5th, I think it is. And the reason I say that is this: just like abolitionists, Abolition, hey man, you need to free those black people because you know what? The abolitionists were working so hard to get our ancestors free, not because they love black people. It's because I ain't got to pay that black dude nothing. I got to pay you something. So I give you $2 to do what you're gonna do. No, what I'm doing worth $8. No, it ain't. I can go get the black dude. I can go rent that black dude for 50 cents from Mr. Jackson or Mr. Johnson or whatever. And then he gonna do exactly what I'm saying. He gonna work twice as hard as you, and he gonna work twice as long as you. So that's why the abolitionists were doing this. The Democratic Party are abolitionists. So you know what? In this instance, you got people who want you enslaved, and you want people who want to keep you in a caste system. So that makes number 6 a dead tie. That makes that a dead tie. Again, it is not advantageous to pick evil on either side. The lesser of two evils, you're still picking evil, but it is an easier fight on the other side. Now, another thing, most of us, again, the reason I brought up our ages is because if the people who are paying attention to me the most at this point are between the ages of 44 and 64, guess what? That means a lot of us are on our way to Social Security. If you're on your way to Social Security and retirement, you got one group who wants to privatize Social Security. You want to put it in the stock market, and then it's going to benefit you because, see, blah, 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 blah. No, we don't want that because Social Security works perfectly fine. Well, I know that Social Security has been funding a lot of these wars. For people say, well, Social Security going to run out. How is it when I get paid on my next paycheck, FICA is going to take some money from me? Every time you get paid, FICA takes some money from you. How in the entire hell are there millions upon millions of people that are going to get paid? They got paid today, going to get paid tomorrow, going to get paid Thursday, going to get paid Friday, then Monday and Tuesday again. Where's all that money going to? No, we don't want to privatize Social Security, but one group does and the other group doesn't. Medicaid, Medicare. A lot of us have elders in our family who are surviving off Medicaid and Medicare for their high blood pressure medications and things of that nature. That's another conversation. I don't want to get into the big pharma in America, but hey, until we stop being slaves to big pharma, our elders and some of us working class people, we need that. We need that. I'm blessed enough to have a union that I pay for medical insurance and all this and all that. So I get it. But a lot of people don't. Again, get that. I have a union that I'm paying for medical insurance, for optical insurance, and things of that nature. So if my left arm started getting weak or my mouth started getting drooped, I'm having a stroke. 911. I don't have nothing to worry about. I'm gonna go to the county because that's the best trauma unit in the city, and they're gonna give me a play on it, right? So this is what I want you to understand. This is what we're up against. They want to get rid of Social Security. They want to get rid of Medicaid and Medicare, and they don't even have an alternative. This dude says, I have concepts of a plan. We're in the fourth quarter with 6 minutes to go in the game, and he still has concepts, whereas the other group has already had a plan in place, and they're reinforcing it and making it stronger. So unless you are growing your own food on a farm with some soil that is being blessed by the Lord each day to make it the most pure, the most solid soil in the history of mankind. And we talking about that soil fresh out of Africa with all the minerals and all that in it, and your fruit and your vegetables, and you got God raining right down on your farm. So ain't no acid rain. It's the purest Noah's Ark rain. Then you need to be worried about Medicare because this food is poisoning us. And then how about that? If you put these people in play and then if you start participating, now we get the FDA back involved, or something else they want to do away with. They want to do away with environmental things and the FDA, and they keep being caught lying on a regular basis about these things. You're going to tell me, on one hand, you're going to tell me global warming is not a thing. And then out that same ridiculous mouth, out of that exact same ridiculous mouth, what do you tell me? Global warming is not a thing, H-Rap. And then the same damn fool tells me, well, the Democratic Party made a hurricane come through and kill thousands of people. We just get ridiculous at this point. So we're already up to 8 things. 8 things. And we got a tie on one, and it's 0-7. Work with me. Now, another thing. I want you to see, you always hear about the crime and then poverty and all these things that are affecting the people of America. I'm going to show you a portion of this video. If you want to see the video in its entirety, go to the bio in this show. We got the clip. Go to the description of the show, and the clip is in there. I put it in there purposely. I want you to watch this, and then I want you to tell me what you think.
In the United States, there are several states that have struggled with poverty for years. The poverty rate here is similar to that of African countries. In this video, we will be highlighting the 10 poorest states in the US in 2023 based on statistical data and analysis. 1. Mississippi. We're in Mississippi, the nation's first poorest state. In Mississippi, 19.4% of people live in poverty, meaning nearly 1 in 4 families earns less than about $25,000 annually. That's the same poverty rate as the African nation of Namibia. That's poor. Factors that contribute to the very poor atmosphere here are a 6.85% unemployment rate, and up until a couple years ago, 1 in 4 Mississippians wasn't finishing high school. Hard to get ahead when you don't study. When you Google Mississippi, the first auto-suggest is why is Mississippi so poor? So why is Mississippi so poor? For many of the reasons we've already talked about before. It's just worse here than anywhere else. Poor education and limited job opportunities are a big factor. 2. Louisiana. We're heading back to the South where we will remain for most of the rest our unwealthy excursion. The next stop takes us to Louisiana. Too bad we don't have enough money to buy booze. They look like they're having so much fun. Here, more than 19% of residents live in poverty, and families command a yearly paycheck of around $46,000. That's not enough for many people here to climb the success ladder. Other statistics that are eye-opening. Louisiana is last in the nation for income gap by gender. Louisianans are 3rd worst for food insecurity and 3rd worst for education scores. The last statistic makes it tough to entice job growth, since the state doesn't have the educated population to support it. There's a sense of fatalism in Louisiana, too. Poor people just remain poor here. It is what it is, they say. All we can do is pray, they say. There's little urgency here to seek change. 3. West Virginia. The poverty rate is 18% in West Virginia, and families bring in about $44,000 a year, both very low numbers. However, a couple bright spots keep West Virginians from ranking as even poorer. The unemployment rate isn't so bad here, so that's good. And the cost of living is so low here that low salaries mean more families can get by and remain out of poverty. Migration studies have shown that 60% more people moved out of West Virginia than moved in. And West Virginia is the only state where death rates exceed birth rates. 4. New Mexico. In New Mexico, 20% of residents live in poverty, and families bring in about $46,000 a year. That's about $10,000 less than the national average. 1 in 3 kids lives in poverty here, which is one big reason New Mexico ranked last in the nation for places to raise a family. When you look at the nation's most federally dependent states, New
Mexico is the 5th on that list. And the reason I stopped it right there is because I don't want to keep going through this over and over and over again. I just showed you 5 of the 4 poorest states in the United States of America. Get this, of those 5, 4 of them were Republican-run states. So if they're doing such a bang-up job, the Republicans run Mississippi, they run Alabama, they run Louisiana, they run West Virginia, and Democrats, as of 2019, run the state of New Mexico. So you never know, and it is a documented, it has been proven and throughout history over the last 44 years. I'm not going to go back to the 60s, the 50s, the 40s, the 30s, the 20s, the 10s. We're just going to talk about modern political history. When a Democratic president is in office, the country does better. You can look it up. It is not a private situation. Now, but when Republicans take over state, you see what happens. You see what happens. People, and they didn't just show black people being poor, because, you know, we the poorest people in the world, we the people on welfare, we the people always begging, right? But you didn't just see black people on those commercials. Even though the sad thing about those things, outside of West Virginia, black people are the predominant people in Mississippi, Alabama, and Louisiana. So if we wanted to, if we got up off our black behinds and engaged, we could remove these people. this is what I want you to understand. The New Mexicans, they have taken the initiative to put somebody else in office because the Republicans have run that state into the ground. So there's another instance, whereas one group is running things into the ground and reaping the benefits and just putting money in their pockets. They put their stuff in their pockets with both hands, and other groups are states that are flourishing. It's one, and this is one of the more rich states in the United States of America just recently turned purple, meaning it's half blue and it's half red. So you're put in a situation to whereas you must make things advantageous for the people instead of the greedy people, instead of the selfish people, instead of the hate mongers and the deceivers of the world, people who work right in contrast with negative energy in the universe. Again, I'm trying to include everybody, so don't get offended if I don't say Jesus, God, the Most High. I'm just going to say negative energy, positive energy, just for the sake of the conversation. But I want you to understand what we're looking at, though. We're looking at a situation where these people are in people are in bad situations. These people are in play. But people in good situations, other people are in play. Arkansas is another one of those states where they just lowered the age of employment. Meaning you could be 17, 18, 19, where it used to be you had to be 16 years old to get a job. Now you can be 13 years old. So if you're 13 years old, you're helping your parents. What's your motivation to go to school? These are the problems that we will be faced with. These are the same problems that we had 100 years ago. It's amazing that thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you for always supporting. It's amazing that we're taking steps back in an age in which we should be moving forward. Now, another thing is this. Everybody assumes having a college education is the key. And in a lot of cases, it can be the key. It can be one of the keys. But what we need to do as a people, and I'm going to include working class people. Working class people need to get back into physical labor, which is being electricians, being heating and air conditioning, going into roofing, going into heating, pipe fitters and things, plumbing. These unions, those people are in need. So I need you to reach out to your pipe fitters union. I need you to reach out to your plumbers union, electrical union, and heating and air conditioner. Because if global warming is a thing, heating and air conditioning is paramount. It is paramount. If you're a plumber, it's always needed. If you're an electrician in a world that is driven by technology, you are literally a god on earth, not the God, a God. You Thor, you ain't God. I'm just being silly. But I need you to understand these things because that way you won't be straddled with the student loan that they don't want to give away. You got people like Marjorie Taylor Greene, Huckabee Sanders, the governor of Arkansas, Ron DeSantis down there in Florida. They all no, I don't be giving away getting no student loan debt. I paid off mine. Blah 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 blah. But these are the same people who took some of that money that a lot of people go in jail for, and with those damn loans. They got those loans, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Those loans. The Lakers got a $14 million loan, even though the NBA starts tonight. But the Lakers got it. They gave the money back after the gas was up. But they were getting those loans. So how is it that you got a loan and then got forgiven for your loan in the midst of COVID while being a member of the government, while making money hand over fist, and all of a sudden, working class people who really can't afford to pay $100,000 back, and that's why we need to get into some of these unions, the pipe fitters union again, heating and air conditioning again, electrical union, plumbing loan, woodwork unions, and things of that nature. Get into those unions. You get free training, you get a trade, and you can live anywhere in America. If you're an electrician, you can live anywhere in the United States of America that's comfortable to you. And that's what we need to be working toward. But again, they want you to be settled with debt and put you in a bad situation. On to my main man, Rated Kev's home state. Y'all know I tease Rated Kev on the basketball show all the time, on the sports show all the time, but Rated Kev is a good brother. Man, Rated Kev, we talk from time to time about the conditions of his home state, which is Louisiana. He's currently a resident somewhere else. I ain't gonna tell everybody. Rated Kev be running around with $1 million in his pocket, so I don't want nobody to rob him. No, I'm just kidding. But Louisiana Louisiana is one of the most egregious states when it comes to the working class individual. This is one of the worst, and especially Black people. There are only 3 million people living in the state of Louisiana. Do you know it's 900,000 Black registered voters? If y'all get up off y'all Black behinds and go get involved and get into it, you could run the state, but you didn't. You chose not to, and guess what happened? Here's a news flash. They have every state has a constitution. I don't know if you have that. The state of Louisiana had a vote on the table to eradicate slavery from their constitution. Slavery is illegal in America, just like marijuana is illegal in America, but I can go buy some weed as soon as I end the show at a dispensary that's about 1.5 miles from here that reads your constitution. So the slavery that I'm speaking of is the prison work. They have the largest prison in the United States of America, former plantation called Angola. Ironically, that's also a country in Africa. Look at the connections. What I want you to understand is this. You shouldn't be forced to go to work for somebody when you're paying your debt to society, especially under the conditions that they're working for. They make $700 and take $125 home. You might say, well, they're paying their way through the prison. Fine. Pay me and let me pay y'all. Don't take 85% of my pay and then bam, that's it. Because if that's the case, why in the entire hell is the state paying as well? Because we're paying for it. The federal tax money is paying for it. The state tax money is paying for it. So what are y'all doing with that money? Y'all see Shawshank Redemption. This is exactly what was going on. So with that being said, this is what happens when you allow Republicans to run the state. Guess what else they took off state? They have a factory, and in the midst of this factory is a town, and they call it Cancer Alley. 65% of the people in this area is getting cancer due to the stuff that they're putting in the air. And the state legislature just made it illegal for the citizens to sue that company. You put pollution in the air that's making the people sick, the people getting sick and dying, and they can't even sue you for killing them. That's what you get when you get on the other side. So again, we already up to 11. We up to 10 things. Well, 11 things. I added one on the fly. We up to 11 things already. And guess what? As we add these 11 things up, we got 1 tie and 10 losses. All I'm asking is, why would you align yourself with a party who's clearly against the working class individual? I ain't gonna talk about racism. I'm not gonna talk about hate. I'm not talking about discrimination. I'm not gonna talk about any of those things. But you also want to do away with the Department of Education. All you need to do is be able to read and do some math. No, you need to know history. This guy was literally on Fox Live in the morning and said, if the guy said, what are you gonna do about these people with the new history? No, that's not new history. History is imperative for you to know. You might think, oh man, it's okay to know your history. That's cool. But see, we need to find out some stuff that's in the future. But the reason you need to know history is because if you don't know what people have done to you, you don't know how they are lined up against you, and you don't know what the next move is. But if you know your history, you know what the game plan is, and you know how to thwart that game plan. But we're not concerned with history. We're concerned with right now, and the more you focus on right now, the closer you come to dying. And I'm not being hyperbolic. You also have a situation, and this is the most important and most egregious thing. Why would you align yourself with a group of people who are aligning themselves with rich people? 1980, Ronald Reagan came up with this lie called the trickle-down effect. If you give rich people the money, they're going to let the money slide down and it's going to help you. Here we are 44 years later, and ain't a damn dime trickled down. But we're still aligned. See, all this time, they ain't done nothing for us on the other side. And again, I continue to say this. You have not organized, you have not had conversation. You have not organized. And I don't want to hear about that. Little Greg and them and Mama Sue and them that's organized, and there's only 50 of them. And they sitting there frustrated as all get out saying, man, ain't nobody helping us. I'm talking about organized by the hundreds. And then you organize by the thousands. And then you organize by the tens and hundreds of thousands. And then you can get something done. Because these people are giving, you got Vice President Harris saying, hey, I want to put you in an advantageous situation so you can get a tax credit. They did away with the child tax credit that's only helping working class people, and they giving more tax credits to billionaires. Make that make sense. We're in a situation to whereas we're having conversations with dumb people on the internet because they're hearing sound bites and they're single issue people. I want my family, meaning my lady, our children, my cousins, my aunts, nieces, nephews, and friends to be safe. I want all your people to be the same way. I want to create some type of union overseas. Since the brothers and sisters on the continent support me, maybe we need to connect with them. Just imagine if we got some type of trade situation going on over there, we get to buying cribs. I got a cousin who wrote a book. I bought your book too, cuz. Marshawn Keys. Look her up on Amazon. His book only costs $12. Support my cousin, man. Marshawn Keys. Spelled phonetically. Marshan Keys, Keys. Check out, man. Little book ain't gonna take you but 20 minutes to read. Now, but I know of her, she got a condo over there. I know of another lady, an older lady, girl I went to high school with. Her mom moved to Ghana, bought a house with 4 acres of land for $36,000. Just about everybody on here car costs more than $36,000. If you go buy a car, if you go buy a brand new car, that's more than $36,000. And you over there getting land. So what we need to do is stop figuring out what we don't have over here and understand if we get engaged, we go get licensed to be firearms carriers, we go get our passports, we register to vote, and we download official Black Wall Street, we will create a nation inside of a nation and be able to thwart the evildoers and the wicked people in government and be able to make it advantageous for everybody. But if you are going to say, I'm sick of gay people, well, don't be gay. I'm sick of this trans conversation. They messing up my kids. Guess what? My mother worked and went to school. And you know what? Before she left out that house, that's apartment 701, 1209 South Racine, she put the fear in Bo. She put the fear in Phyllis. And I saw her put the fear in Bo and Phyllis. And I knew I was in line next. So it wasn't going to be no foolishness in that house. And then I had a grandmother down the street, and I had another grandmother like a half a mile down the block. And everybody in that community knew my mama. So if I acted a fool, you were going to get your ass, you go get your drawers kicked in your ass immediately. So no matter what it is in the world, if you are engaging with your children, can't nobody tell your kids what to do because your children respect you. Your children should be respecting you and listening to you. Because I know one thing, and it wasn't even all about beat downs and, oh man, my mother put you on restrictions and you better not turn on the TV, your ass better not turn on the radio, and guess what? You better have a damn book report done by Friday. You almost wishing it, man, why don't you just kick my ass? I'm sick of sitting here with this silence and reading these damn encyclopedias. You went and bought 3 sets. So there was nothing you could do to affect one and that kids. So no matter what's going on TV, we can go there and, hey, Mom, what's up? No. And at our house, no was a complete sentence. No, you cannot have that. And damn it, don't ask me no more. That's what no meant in my house. It wasn't about beating us and doing all this because we had a wonderful time at that same apartment. The same apartment. So if you're worried about other people poisoning your children, maybe you're being a half-ass parent. Maybe you're being a half-ass parent. And I'm not accusing anybody of anything. But what we're going to have to do is I need you to know the person who lives next this. If you live in an apartment building, I need you to know the person lives over here, up there, down there. Start speaking. Start having conversations. And start listening to understand and not respond. And then we get these little bitty coalitions and these little bitty pockets that put ourselves in an advantageous situation. I don't know all the details about Vice President Kamala Harris. I don't know all the details about former President Donald Trump. But if you ask me, who do I trust? Hey, You asked me if me and my old lady was out and went dancing, and Kamala Harris was sitting at the table, and Vice President Trump was sitting at the table, who we asked to hold my old lady purse. It goes without saying. I'm not having homie hold my purse. I hold my old lady purse while we go out and dance. Or, hey, watch my purse. We finna hit the dance floor. No, because if he's sitting there, she gonna dance with the damn purse around her shoulder. Because he might go in it, and I'm just keeping it real. And look, you can vote for who you want to. You can align yourself with whatever you want to. You can do what you want to, because as the people love to say, I'm grown, I'm gonna do what I want to. Okay, cool. And you can vote for who you want to, and I hope it works out for you. But just know, I want you to understand this. Every time I see one of you brothers talking about you're gonna vote for Trump, because you never know, this is what I see.
Toby be good nigga for massa. Don't send Toby away. Toby be good for your hand, boss.
You can stay.
Toby stay. Toby stay. Toby be good now. Toby be real good.
That's what I see. So you pick who you're going to pick. And in my opinion, I really count in your life. I want to thank each and every one of y'all for supporting me every week. It is a dope situation here. Man, I'm growing and growing faster than I thought. I'm going to keep grinding them out, working hard. See y'all, maybe see y'all. If I get the inspiration, I might see y'all early tomorrow, midday tomorrow. If not, 2 fingers, 1 word. Big Mo, take us on up out of here.
We lust for that cheese, we lose sleep, dreams of that cream. We killing our teens, they dying for this American dream. Them government schemes, they turning us to hustlers and fiends. We hustling trees, them politicians smuggling green. Chasing that cheese, got everybody stressed in the streets. Pardon me for speaking freely, let it breathe. Evangelists preach the congregations out of their seats. They writing them checks for tithes, now his people can't eat. She stripping for change for school, now she giving them brain. She used to that loot, she earning, now she giving them strain. He new to this game, but hungry, so he cooking his cane. He getting that paper, but then they gave him 2 to the brain. It's rules to this game, but hustlers never hustle for fame. The spirit of greed is grimy, so we struggle to change. They put us in chains to take away our African names. But if we submissive and don't resist, then who do we blame? It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. They gave us Obama, but that nigga was hoping for change. But Zimmerman is killing niggas and he free. Shit is crazy, babies having these babies and getting checked. But keep the child from they pop to rip his heart out his chest. Our rappers was leaders and now they in the booth and the dress. Spitting bullshit and making more but giving us less. They taking our sound and changing ours, dumbing it down. They taking our jobs and homes and they shutting us out. They taking our kids because it ain't a man in the house. They locking us down, but soon they gon' be wiping us out. They told our women they was too independent to need a man. They told our brother he was too insignificant to advance. It's all a game, man. These Europeans staking they claim. And you a victim of their game plan. You thinking they ain't, you thinking they saints. Remember all them niggas they hang? Killed our women and our children, all our leaders is slain. It's all a game.
And it is necessary for those people who rule over us and who rule over African people the world over, if those people are to stay in power, they must destroy our ability to love each other in a healthy sort of way. This is why